Governor Evers makes his way across the state today after laying out an ambitious state budget last night. And President Trump busy on Twitter this morning responding to Michael Cohen's testimony. We'll share the latest from Washington.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Kane. Governor Tony Evers will be traveling the state today, touting an $83 billion budget that changes how schools are funded and increases the gas tax. Evers announced his budget plan to a joint session of the legislature last night. As promised, it included a plan to send $1.4 billion to schools, expand Medicaid, cut middle-class taxes, and fund a tuition freeze at UW-Madison. Key parts of the plan also center on roads. Evers wants to raise the gas tax by 8 cents a gallon, but also repeal the minimum markup on fuel, which he says could reduce the cost by 14 cents. The plan also raises fees on heavy trucks and titles, as well as hybrid cars. This morning, the governor talked with leaders of the Wisconsin State AFL-CIO about repealing right-to-work laws.
We're going to begin to undo the harm that has been done to organized labor. As you know, we've put in the budget a repeal to right-to-work, which obviously is anything but.
Evers' budget also includes a plan to raise the minimum wage to $9 an hour at the end of 2 years, as well as much of the recent lame duck legislation. After hearing the official proposal from the governor, Republican leaders in the legislature say there's no choice but to draft their own budget. Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald and Speaker Robin Vos told reporters they were frustrated and disappointed by Evers' plan. While they acknowledged areas of potential compromise, they say Evers' budget proposal puts them on the wrong track. Governor Evers included a lot of provisions Republicans have called non-starters, like raising taxes, expanding Medicaid, and eliminating the work requirements in order to be on Medicaid.
And a complete disregard for the Republican-controlled legislature. Because sitting there, I'm just thinking in my mind a number of members that are clearly going to reject everything in this document just full out.
The way that he presented the budget tonight is just totally different than the reality of what we have been seeing over the course of the past 2 months since he assumed office. This budget is a liberal tax and spend wish list.
Republicans say they'll spend the next several months crafting their own spending plan. They did not specify anything that they supported in the governor's budget. Let's head over to the Weather Center now. Meteorologist Chris Reese has a look at your first alert forecast. Good afternoon, Chris.
Good afternoon, Mark. It's the first day of meteorological spring now that we've made it to March 1st, but it feels like anything but out there. Lots of cloud cover. Temperatures are only in the 20s at this hour, 24 degrees right now. Winds are coming out of the east and southeast at 7 miles per hour. We zoom things out just a little bit, and we are all staying in the mid to upper 20s, and I think our temperatures are going to stay parked there with that cloud cover working as a blanket to keep things a little bit colder this afternoon. Now, as we look off to the north and west, we do see another round of light snow moving its way on into south central Wisconsin, and that will continue to move in overnight tonight. There are winter weather advisories for Juneau and Adams counties. Those are going to go until midnight, so it's going to be a quick hitting region of light snow that is going to move on through here. Not a big deal at all. So as you plan the rest of your day, do know that for the most part, we are going to stay cloudy with some flurry chances increasing into the afternoon. But Mark, we do have multiple alert days in the forecast, and those are not for snow. I'll break down what they're for coming up.
Enjoy the warmth today, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Chris, we'll see you in a few minutes. This winter's extreme cold canceled classes, shut down entire campuses, but one thing it hasn't impacted, the amount of bugs we'll see once things warm up. The cold weather hasn't killed off stink bugs, and it likely won't affect how many bees, ants, ticks, and the ever-popular mosquitoes we see come this summer. That's because all the snow we've been getting has created a layer of insulation on the ground that protects insects from the cold. Most bugs that live here in Wisconsin have adapted to our weather. They're used to the cold, even extreme record-breaking conditions, and some species, like mosquitoes, even thrive in this snowy weather. The cold isn't likely to affect butterflies or firefly populations, though. New at noon today, Madison's police say that they have finished their investigation into an alleged incident at a middle school. The Madison Metropolitan School District placed acting principal of Whitehorse Middle School on leave last month after a student said he pushed her and tore out 3 of her braids. Police say they've handed their investigation now over to the Dane County District Attorney's Office, where it's currently under review. The incident prompted Black community leaders to host a community meetings and the MSSD superintendent to send a letter to parents saying the district planned to launch a new system for staff and students to report incidents of racism and discrimination. A Rock County teenager is facing 2 felony charges after admitting to putting a cattle sedative in his stepfather's drinks last year. That's according to court documents. 16-year-old Tyler Robinhouse Malone was charged yesterday with placing foreign objects in edibles and second-degree recklessly endangering safety. In April of last year, he allegedly put rampin, which is given to cows during delivery of calves, into his stepfather's drinks. He's scheduled to be in Rock County Court later this month. Deputies in Westport have identified the Middleton man killed Wednesday morning, that is, in a crash. The Dane County Sheriff's Office says 54-year-old Albert A. Martin hit a patch of ice and lost control of his vehicle when he was driving on County Road M near Borchers Beach Road. His vehicle crossed over the center line and hit another vehicle driving in the other direction. The driver of that car was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. In national news at noon, President Trump says he took time during his trip to Vietnam to watch Michael Cohen's testimony on Capitol Hill this week. The president sent out a flurry of tweets this morning about the testimony of his former lawyer and fixer. He called Cohen discredited and said he committed perjury. He also called his congressional hearing this week fake testimony. President Trump appeared on Fox News with Sean Hannity Thursday night.
He said to me at least a dozen times that he made the decision on the payments and he didn't tell you.
Yeah.
Told me personally.
No, he did, and he made the decision. And remember this, he's an attorney. Whatever decision he makes, you're supposed to rely on an attorney to make a decision.
Republican Congressman Jim Jordan and Mark Meadows are accusing Cohen of perjury and have asked the Department of Justice to investigate. Well, there's more to come on News 3 Now at noon. I'm next. We'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Did you know March is National Frozen Food Month? So grab your shopping list and join us as we explore the freezer aisle. Did you know that the average shopper spends more than 60 hours a year in the supermarket? For us in the test kitchen, who love seeking out new finds, it's a lot more. And if you've been to the market this week, you've probably noticed that it's National Frozen Food Month. That means it's the perfect time to explore these aisles and to stock up and take advantage of all that's on sale. Sure, there still are everyday favorites, but the thing that really stands out to me is how many new products there are. Many using trendier ingredients, as well as lots of farm-to-table and sustainable ingredients. And if you're looking for organic, vegetarian, or low-carb options, there's no shortage of those. That means there's something for everyone. Brands are also incorporating more flavors from around the world, which makes mealtime even more exciting. As for the packaging, I love seeing more brands offering easy-to-open and reseal bags and boxes, which helps reduce food waste. And when it comes to food labels, we're seeing ingredient lists that are simpler and with items that we can easily pronounce. After exploring the freezer aisle for a bit, we picked up a few favorites and created what we call Farmhouse Tortellini Skillet as a tasty way to celebrate National Frozen Food Month. And as always, you can find the recipe on our website. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a fresh from the freezer aisle way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
All right, Howard, thank you. Stay with us. Chris Reese has your very cold weekend forecast. Our call for action phone bank is open right now, ready to take on your consumer issue. You can call our hotline. Volunteers will help you with any consumer complaints. The number is 608-270-2833. The service is open every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 11 and 1. And with a look at the latest news now on Wall Street, here's Diane King Hall with today's Money Watch report.
Consumer spending tumbled in December, the biggest drop in 9 years. According to the Commerce Department, spending fell 0.5%, and while incomes rose in December, they fell in January. Close to a month into tax season, and refunds are starting to increase. According to the IRS, the average check is now $3,143, on par with last year's numbers. The increase in refund amounts is a change from the recent downward trend of smaller checks. 1/3 of Americans say they have boycotted a company when it takes an action they disagree with. That's according to a new survey from the Global Strategy Group. 38% of Democrats say they've boycotted a brand such as Chick-fil-A and Hobby Lobby. Similarly, 35% of Republicans have boycotted companies like Nike and Target. Still, 92% of people believe companies should take a stand on issues. And put down your phone. It is National Unplugging Day. The day is set aside to give people a 24-hour digital detox. NationalDayOfUnplugging.com is asking device users to make an unplug pledge. And so far, more than 100,000 people have signed up. Some companies are joining the effort. The dating app Hinge is asking users to get off the app and go on a real date. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to CBSMoneyWatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane King Hall.
All right, Diane, thank you. Let's check in now with Q106 Farm Director Pam Yankee with the Friday Farm News. Hi, Pam.
His head will spin. Well, we're keeping an eye on what's happening with the marketplace, quite simply because it's March 1st, and that means, technically speaking, we've got some things that are getting juggled around. Obviously, they're closing out contracts from the end of February, and they're trying to figure out if they want to be in March or longer in the marketplace. I've got some good news, though, as far as Wisconsin dairy is concerned. Because of the government shutdown, we've got kind of a backlog of USDA reports that are bringing us information. Yesterday, they announced that the January milk price for our Wisconsin dairy farmers went up just a little bit, about 20 cents a hundredweight, $16.20 a hundredweight. The average pay price for January around Wisconsin, that is still below the national average. 23 major dairy producing states saw $16.40, or make that $16.60 as their milk price, so 40 cents higher than Wisconsin. There were 16 states that had higher milk prices, 3 that had lower milk prices, and 4 that were unchanged. I know that we're always into a comparison situation. Minnesota dairy producers saw a 60-cent increase in their milk price compared to a year ago at $16.50. Iowa's milk price absolutely flat compared to a year ago at $16.30, and Michigan about an 80% increase on their, or an 8% increase on their milk price compared to January of a year ago, but they're still at $15.70 a hundredweight, so definitely lower than our Wisconsin dairy producers. Corn, beans, and wheat on the midday are lower. I just took a look. Wheat's down about 7 cents. The soybeans are down about 6, and the corn is down about 4 as well. Fluid milk right now, April and May, they're currently trading lower too. No change again on Friday for barrel or block cheese. The AA butter, 2 1/4 cents higher mark at $2.28 3/4 per pound. So all in all, kind of quiet.
Yeah, just ease into the weekend. Yes,
that's right. Yes, that's right. I'd say yes, let's get there. But I bet Chris is going to change my opinion on why I'd want to get there.
Yeah, I think we'd be better off like Wednesday or Thursday of next week at this point.
Yeah, it's back to complete wrap around the head by Monday, I'll bet.
All right. Thank you, Pam. Chris is standing by over in the Weather Center. Or behind me, somewhere.
I'm all over the place today. But, hey, the clouds have been all over the place as well. Just a blanket of cloud cover that we do have out there, along with those colder temperatures. But they could be worse, and they will get worse in time. So hold on to the warmth that we have out there. Temperatures mainly in the 20s across the state. 24 here in Madison. Mineral Point has just now jumped to 30, but 27 in the Dells. Same for our friends in Wautoma. As you work your way to the north, you do find winter weather advisories for Juneau and Adams counties, along with Vernon County. Those are going to go until midnight tonight. So we do have a light snow system moving through. Accumulations will be higher to the north, but it's going to be a quick moving system, so those impacts are not going to last all that long. Here's Doppler track over the past 3 hours. You see some of the light snow starting to arrive just to the west. This is really starting to take over the Twin Cities right now and work its way towards the Northwoods. It's fighting just a little bit of dry air initially, but we have the whole disturbance across the north, and that's gradually going to impact us here across the southern tier of the state, especially later on tonight. So let's go ahead and take you hour by hour to when this starts. We're not going to start to see the snowflakes fly probably until about 10 o'clock or so. So your afternoon commutes, No worries, it will be fine. Just cloudy and cold. But once this comes on through, it will not last long. This is 2 o'clock in the morning. Already we're starting to watch this work its way towards the east, over towards the Milwaukee metro, tapering to flurries and really tapering as a whole altogether by the time we get you towards your Saturday morning. How much are we looking at? Again, not a lot, folks, not a lot at all. Generally, it is going to be about an inch or less for most of us. I actually think this model is a little bit overdone for the south and eastern parts of the state. But you see that for the most part, it is less than an inch until you get your way north of the Dells and Camp Douglas. That's where you have the greater chance to see perhaps 2, maybe 3 inches of snow. And so that's where that winter weather advisory is, and that's going to be warranted. But the bigger story, my friends, is going to be the cold coming into the country. We are talking a piece of the polar vortex breaking off and working its way down south again, especially as we go through early on next week before that begins to taper off. So we're talking wind chills near -30 by Monday morning. Again, this could likely prompt additional school closings with those wind chills being so chilly. This is Tuesday mornings, Wednesday, with wind chills around -23, and then even into Wednesday morning, those wind chills are going to be fairly cold. So we have 3 alert days. It's going to be Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, simply because of those temperatures that are going to be below zero and wind chills exceptionally below zero. In fact, the next 6 to 10 days are going to be very cold across the northern half of the country, and that is going to go through the first 2 weeks of March, with most of us being below normal when it comes to our temperatures. So while yes, today is the first day of meteorological spring, we still have the cold temperatures to go with, along with the possibility of a wintry mix and more snow as we head towards next weekend. Those temperatures are going to be below average for a while. By Monday, perhaps a high of 6 and a low of -10, which if we reach -10 would set a record low.
Wow. Just doesn't end, does it?
It does not end. Now, this winter went from nothing and then just started swinging and will not stop.
All that complaining in December of no snow and
It's
no
here.
cold. It's here.
It will not last long. I see flowers on the horizon, if you catch my drift there.
You're just looking in the store at the flowers.
Yeah, I was looking at the store. There are signs of a warm-up mid-month.
Good.
All right.
Still to come on News 3 Now at noon. You might be thinking about going out for a steak tonight, but what if it came from a 3D printer? We'll show you a Spanish company trying something new. Well, a Spanish company wants to fill the world with conscious carnivores, one steak at a time. The company relies on 3D printers to make their meat stand out. CBS's Gwen Baumgartner reports from London.
It's an innovative entree that goes from printer to pan. Giuseppe Schianti came up with the idea 2 years ago. Since then, he's been printing and preparing vegan steaks like this for people around the world.
It's about new meat. It means plant-based meat substitute. So we are creating the first 3D printed plant-based beef steak.
The edible ink with ingredients such as rice, peas, and seaweed comes in a cartridge like this. A 3D printer takes the role as sous chef, working meticulously to prepare the meat in under 10 minutes. It's printed with the same texture and appearance of a normal beef steak. After a sizzle on the skillet and a dash of oregano, it's time to eat. Mouth full, one taste tester eagerly weighed in.
I think it's good.
Schianti says the technology offers an alternative to meat since livestock farming is one of the leading contributors of greenhouse gas emissions. He says it also tackles the issue of sustainability, with many Americans eating double the recommended amount of red meat. First, the fake steak has to win over consumers' taste buds, one print at a time. Gwen Baumgartner, CBS News, London.
And the 3D steaks are still not available to buy. The company hopes to expand their food options in the future, creating 3D printed food, tuna steaks and chicken breasts. What do you think, Chris?
Well, hopefully we can get some 3D printed heat around here to melt some of that snow that we have on the ground, but things are really only looking colder. Welcome to March. As we go through the next 6 to 10 days, folks, we do have 3 alert days in our forecast. It's going to be Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We're talking some days with highs only around 6 degrees, morning lows as cold as -10. Now, there is a light snow chance coming in tonight, by the way. That's generally going to be about an inch or less for most of us. It's not a major system.
All right, that's our time for now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here at 4 o'clock. In the meantime, have a great afternoon.